Hello everybody and welcome to the next review of Transformers Micromasters. This will be the last of the lot that we do for the moment. So we have the Autobot Rescue Patrol, a somewhat eclectic bunch of rescue vehicles in that, they don't always go as a rescue vehicle. Really? Powerboat? But never mind. Okay, so what we have here are Fix-It, possibly the most well-known Western Transformer. Fix-It has appeared many, many times, not always as a Micromaster, but just as a medic. So he's appeared many, many times for them. Sea-Watch, the boat. Red Hot, obviously not a boat, the fire truck. And Stakeout. Now, Stakeout will be the most familiar of probably all of the Micromasters if you've been watching some of the Japanese films. Stakeout appeared as Holly and was for many times the only Micromaster until then his other three patrol members arrived. Stakeout, or Holly, was nominally the leader of those. So we have here our, the Rescue Patrol. Now in the comics, well, yes, they did all appear briefly, particularly Fix-It has had the most screen time of them all, as I say, appearing as predominantly his medic role, both in the original ones and later on. Fix-It was also introduced as another medic, though not as a Micromaster, interestingly. He was just made into a full-size ambulance. The other three have had lesser roles, Japanese continuity notwithstanding, but they did all appear, so they will be known. They appeared at the same time as the others, possibly a little bit later on, as they didn't actually get any comic time until a little bit later. Nevertheless, they are still amongst one of the first Micromasters out there, and consequently have slightly unique, slightly more diverse moulds. They are good moulds. It's a little bit of an eclectic bunch. The ambulance and the fire engine, definitely rescue vehicles. Police car, yeah, I can kind of see why they added a police car in there. A speedboat, not so much. That just seemed a little bit odd to have a speedboat as a rescue patrol. And I don't recall, there's probably a few other Micromasters that might be boats. Certainly there's transports which are boats, but there's not that many that I can immediately think of. So it's a little bit more unique like that. In terms of detail though, excuse me, quite nice detail on there, how it does look like a speedboat, in particular a hydrofoil. So that works quite well. And he's got some good detail into him as well. I also like the fact that this does actually move up, which is it's nice to see because it gives that a little bit more of authenticity to it. Okay, so we'll now move on to the transformation to the robots. As ever, it always helps to just flip them over like this. I'll just zoom back out a bit there so we get a little bit more detail. Quite nice to see how they flip over like that, and you can just see how the transformation is going to work a bit. So this flips back like that, flips down like that to form the legs, and you're there, just move his arms out. Quite bulky knees, it has to be said, but it works all told. Oh, it helps if you can get your thumb out of the way to be able to put him down. He is a little bit top heavy because of all this bulk at the back here, so you do have to just bend him a bit. Okay, so the simplest of them all is this guy. Down and round. I say simplest of all, it's actually very, very similar to this guy's transformation. You're just obviously doing it with a police car. You end up with, for a Micromaster, quite a tall Micromaster here as well. As you see, he's much taller than the other ones. Okay, so here, flip this up to begin with. Hey, guess what? This bit goes down now. Yeah, definite theme emerging. But actually, that's it. Now you've got the arms like so. He looks a bit bulkier as a Micromaster. Not as tall as him. Actually, he is, but he feels a bit more solid. And finally, our ambulance. Again, that goes down. Now, this doesn't go round. This actually just... Remember on the planes where the legs came out? That's what happens here. That's actually it. That is your sole transformation. It just moves down. A bit disappointing, and you've got some very off-balance transformer here, so we'll just do a little bit of balance in there. Okay, so in terms of these four, heights are quite varied compared to some of the others. Two in the middle are significantly taller than the two on the outs. And the fire engine, Red Hot, is particularly bulkier than the others. So they are a little bit thrown together. I'm just going to compare them with some of the other Micromasters. So we look at Powertrain here. He is of a similar height to the two in the middle. But when we take Mudslinger, he's of a similar height to the two on the end. So you do get the diversity elsewhere, but nevertheless the two in the middle are substantially larger than normal Micromasters. Detail-wise, well actually it's these two in the middle here which have the most detail, with the two on the end is alright. I have to say Fix-It's transformation is a bit disappointing, considering he's one of the most well-known Micromasters. He's got the most simplest transformation and probably the poorest robot mode of them all. But overall, I'd be happy to have either of these in robot or car mode. It works all told. These two are a little bit disappointing in the robot modes. Not necessarily so much in the actual modes, though Fix-Its leaves much to be desired, but in the lack of balance. They're quite easy to topple over. Two in the middle are great in either mode, so overall it balances quite well. And we just compare it to a modern Transformer, the Titan's Return release of Skullcruncher, and they work well. Obviously, height variance. Sorry, the height variance on both doesn't matter too much. They still fit quite well. And let's face it, the larger Transformers aren't all the same size, so why shouldn't the Micromasters not be the same size either? With different heights, they're still Micromasters. They still fit the same. Yeah, they work well. So in terms of the Rescue Patrol, yeah, they're worth picking up. A little bit, I feel they're a little bit thrown together in that they don't perhaps all make quite as much sense, and they're not perhaps quite as unified. Well, certainly Sea-Watch isn't. He feels like he's a bit thrown together. I mean, I suppose if you're thinking 4 members of a rescue patrol, so you've got your fire engine, you've got your ambulance, you've got your police car, what's left? Well, you could have had an air ambulance, I guess, but they wanted to make something different and not have another plane, so they had a boat. Boat ambulance? I'm not sure if that exists, but I guess, say you've got your normal 3, so what's left? So that's probably where the designers came up with that little bit of a problem. So I can criticise them for putting Sea-Watch in, however, here's something different, and I can't think of anything better other than an air ambulance, which could have worked. Equally, it might not have. So worth picking up, and quite a nice bunch of Transformers as well. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave comments, click and subscribe, and watch some other videos, and we'll see you for the next review. Thank you. Goodbye.